say the rest for the double back. Op died, I saw the post and I double tap. You know them niggas was loving that. If you fucking with them, I can't fuck with that. You might just get caught in the mix. I got Kino Youngers ahead of the game, so I got him a switch when I bought him a stick. Hopping that fast car doing the dash. I'm in the drop top rolling. He threw the flag when he saw me in motion. I caught her up like COVID. I'm in the damn, I'm in the hot box smoking. I bet whatever my BM will beat the shit out her if she catch a op start strophing. I thought a butt nigga said something, but I know he ain't talking to me. Little bit skinny as shit. If she ain't got a rack, then she can't even argue with me. Niggas talk money but be looking bummy. I swear that shit sounds so retarded to me. We can play big bank, take little bank, little nigga, so don't even start it with me. I got a big Drake and take a life from a nigga, so ain't no need gunning for me. 762 got a chase, you ain't winning that race, so ain't no need in running from me. I do some deals in the club, but if I fuck her later, she won't get 100 from me. And my shit say double SO, I get booked for a show, and you know the gang coming with me. He think he alias, we on the car from the tag. Shorty was strobing in there. Whenever we slide, all we know is screams and bangs, like we bout to open the fed. Stay ready, then you not gonna have to get ready, little buddy. I got my Poland prepared. Put down the J, then I went outside. Why? I heard it was smoke in the air. Let's light it up, man. I hope it's.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Gonna be going over a quick off-season update that's pretty overdue at this point. So just gonna get right into it. We'll take a look at where we finished off at the end of the rebound and where we are now. Also, I'll talk about what my plans are for the rest of the year and what the timeline looks like for that. So getting right into it. Here's my check-in info at the end of the rebound. So we peaked out at the heaviest weight was 234.6. So we finished that push at about January 10th. And since we've been in a cruise phase, so scrolling all the way down to this week's check-in info, we're currently sitting at 223.2. I was actually all the way down to 218.2 early last week due to some sickness. So I was actually getting all my food down and everything, but the weight was just coming off. I don't know the science behind it, but it was a pretty nasty flu. My body was just running super hot, so I think everything that I was putting in my body was just getting burned through like crazy. I was sweating at night. I was definitely a lot drier than I normally am, but also flat at the same time. So I'm still actually not even 100% over that at this point. You can probably hear it in my voice. I have some nasal congestion, a little bit of a sore throat. So still working through that, but you could see, I want to say, yeah, so last Tuesday is when I got back in the gym. I probably could have used a day or two more, but I was out of the gym for, I think it was six days, which is a lot for me. My body really needed it, and I'm feeling great now, but you can see ever since being back in the gym, weight has been gradually going back up, no changes to the diet. So yeah, down about 10 pounds from the peak of the rebound, a lot of it being water. Honestly, that was the most watery I've ever been. Probably mostly due to the compound selection and the doses we were running, but geez, it felt like I probably lost about 3 pounds out of my ankles within the first couple of weeks of pulling back doses. So on that note, we could take a look at where we were PED-wise on the rebound and where we are now. So not a whole lot of moving parts during the rebound. Right out the gate, we started with gram a test and 700 DECA, as well as 18 units of growth hormone. We rode that out for the entire 8 weeks of the rebound. No adjustment to those. And now in the cruise phase, we brought things down to 300 milligrams a test, 100 milligrams of DECA, and down to 10 IUs of growth. So still a good androgen load in there. I'm not feeling full blown like I obviously was on the rebound, but gym performance is still great. Definitely still, I guess, quote unquote, enhanced. On top of that, we decided we wanted to use the cruise as sort of a cleanup phase to set me up to have a good runway for this next push that's coming up. So we've got 40 micrograms of Clen in there as well, and that's doing its thing. Otherwise, taking a look at where the diet was and where it is now. So this is the highest the food was at the end of the rebound, which was honestly a miserable amount of food. I don't know how long I could have sustained that for. I think maybe one day I probably will have to eat that amount of food long term. It might even be at the end of this off season push, but it was pretty daunting, I'm not going to lie. So looking at the meals, I'll just break them down one by one. We were at 50 grams of carbs intra workout. Pre-workout meal was 200 grams chicken breast, 220 grams cream of rice, 100 grams banana, 2 English muffins, and 15 grams of honey. So we were also doing 25 units of Tresiba with my first meal to cover throughout the whole day. Post-workout meal, similar to the first one, 220 grams of cream of rice, 75 grams of whey isolate, 150 grams of blueberries, 40 grams of honey, and 50 grams of carbs from sourdough bread. And with that meal, I was doing an additional 20 units of Humalog. So traditionally, my coach has always had me on a training day and rest day diet. But as of basically the start of the rebound, training day and non-training days have been essentially the same, with reductions to one of the meals, which you can see here. On rest days, was doing half the amount of cream of rice and half the amount of honey. Otherwise, all the food's the same, and obviously pulling out the intra shake on rest days. Meal 3 here, 220 grams of chicken breast, 350 grams of rice, veggies, and then 50 grams of carbs from sourdough or rice cakes, which you'll see the next 3 meals all include that. 220 grams of white fish, 300 grams of rice, veggies, and again, 50 grams of carbs from sourdough or rice cakes. 220 grams of chicken breast, 350 grams of rice and veg, and again, 50 grams of carbs from sourdough and rice or rice cakes. And final meal for the day, it was 220 grams of extra lean ground beef, 75 grams of avocado, veggies, and then 125 grams of carbs from the source of my choice. So I was doing anything from rice, potatoes, more sourdough, just kind of whatever I was feeling on that day. It was mostly a mixture of a little bit of potatoes and just more rice, because at the end of the push, I just needed to get the food in the easiest way, and obviously rice is the most simple to get down. Now, since then, we've adjusted the diet twice. The initial week pulled food down some. I won't go over all that, but this is where we've been at for the last, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks. So pull the intra shake down to 30 grams of carbs from 50. Pre-workout meal, 200 grams of chicken breast, reduced to 190 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of banana, and then remove the honey entirely, as well as the English muffins came out. The post-workout meal, oh, and also I should mention, we've pulled back the insulin accordingly with the reduction in food. So now doing 15 units of Tresiba with the first meal, and then 15 units of Humalog with the post-workout meal. Post-workout meal is very similar to what it was. Again, 220 grams of cream of rice, 75 grams of whey isolate, 150 grams of berries, honey down to 20 grams, and then sourdough down to 25 grams of carbs. And again, same reductions as before. Still the only meal that we're reducing on rest days. And the other meals are very similar to what they were before. So everything the same for the next 3 meals. Just remove the extra carbs from the sourdough or the rice cakes. And then the final meal, very similar to what it was as well, but have brought down the carbs to 75 grams with that meal from 125. Otherwise, cardio has been adjusted. I was doing 30 minutes 5 times per week throughout the entire rebound. We pulled that back to 25 minutes, still 5 days a week. And lastly, training wise, not a ton to report on the training. I'm actually doing things a little differently. I just haven't updated this. The split going into the next push, I'm going to leave the same with adjustments to this back, chest, and delts day. So just analyzing my physique, in my opinion, I need to start, for lack of better terms, I need to stop fucking around with my back training and really make it a big priority. It has been growing, but I just need a lot more back if I want to be competitive moving forward. So what I'm actually going to adjust, and I did the session today actually, so after I explain it, I'll play the clips of what that session looks like. I'm pulling out the chest exercises here, and I'm going to replace them with one more back movement, specifically a single arm lat pull down. So that will be between I'm adding a single arm lat row. So that will be after the pullovers and before the single arm pull downs. So I'll go ahead and play those clips now.
Yo, bitch, got that wet, my gun got that wet. She let me fuck up in the car. Now my seats is wet. I'm off the drink, wet. Yo, don't smell like a wet patch. She said she wanna smoke real weed. Bitch, you should've said that. She said that she got a P. I'm like, bitch, you should've said that. She said she been said that. I say I ain't heard that. I was smoking the loudest lot, but I'm always red. You be smoking on that shit that give you a head. Who come here? You come here. Who come here? Pistol to your ear. Booze what you sip. Lean what I sip. Water what I drink. Cat me young I get. Pull up on the strip. Thing on my hip. The police pull me over like it's weed on my lip. Johnny called me up, he said he peed on my wrist. Yo bitch called me mom, she said she bleached all my gifts. My daughter called me mad, she said she gon' eat all my chips. These niggas always mad, they wanna eat all my dip. The ops always mad, they say Chief Keef ain't blowing shit. Until I come through blasting like the heat ain't doing shit. Sosa, Will Chamberlain, blunts just flaming, watch just blaming, phone just ringing.
Otherwise, I'm going to leave training the same. A big focus on the rebound was my arm training, and I think we did make some pretty good strides in terms of that. Still a lot of work to be done to make them a stronger body part. But just looking at my check-in pictures, I can see a noticeable difference, especially in the side shots. I still feel like they're a little slight from the when they're up in the air in the front double and the rear double, but nonetheless, you know, they're only going to grow so fast. And I think with what I'm doing here, this more of a higher volume, faster paced training, you know, I'm not really there's a couple exercises I'm log booking more so for accountability than anything. Like, so for like the dip machine, you know, that's something I feel like it is worthwhile getting stronger on. But, you know, stuff like dumbbell curls, even this incline curl machine, I was initially chasing numbers on it, but now I'm just really going in and chasing the pump, and I think it's yielding pretty good results. So not going to make any changes there. Legs, just going to do my thing, training it once a week. They're kind of, I don't want to say they're on the back burner, but they're definitely not high priority. honestly, the way I've been training them, I don't feel like I can train them any more than once a week because it's taking me 3, 4, sometimes 5 days to be fully recovered from it. And if I'm going to be honest, it might actually be a detriment to the following training sessions, the couple following days after it. So I might need to adjust the volume on that training session, but for now, just going to stick with where it is. And otherwise, these 2 sessions will remain the same. And just to touch on, not only am I adjusting the volume a little bit on my back training, specifically on my lat movements, I'm really going to focus. I've always been pretty grip and rip when it comes to back training, which I think works well for building a big upper and mid back. But when it comes to lat training, I'm coming to the realization that it does take a lot more precision. So what I'm doing to address that is just not slinging the weight as much. I'm not chasing any extreme ranges of motion. Just really want to focus on keeping the tension on the lat throughout the whole movement, especially in the end ranges, because that's where I find I'll lose the tension. And that's obviously going to take away from it as a whole. So without getting into too much detail, that's kind of what my approach is as for now. Specifically lat movements, really going to be conservative with adding load to it. Even something like a single arm lat row. I really like the Rogers row, and you don't really see people loading that with 5-pound plates or even 10-pound plates, but I'm going to make it a target to add 5 pounds per side each session throughout the whole next push. And over time that's going to add up. So that's about all I have for training. Now, looking at the timeline for the rest of the year and what my plans are. So tentative plan is to compete in the King Kong Classic again this year. So I believe it's actually a week later. So that will give us either an additional week of off-season push or an additional week in the cruise phase in between the off-season and prep, which is already pretty short here. So I'm guessing it's going to make more sense to add another week here. So the next push, if I'm reading this correctly, we're going to be starting that up this week. I'm getting blood work in the next, probably at the end of this week. So if that looks good, I'd be happy to start it even here. I'm going to leave that up to my coach. He's usually the voice of reason, So we'll start the push there, and that will give us, I believe it's 14 weeks to push, which I think is plenty of time to put on some more size. I'm really excited for it. I honestly think this next push is going to be even more drastic than the rebound, which I think I put on some really good size. But at the same time, just looking back at it, I don't think I got the most out of that time because I was just pretty burnt out by the end of it. Coming off a 20-week prep right into another 8 weeks of pushing hard. By the end of it, man, I was beat up and just ready for a break. So I think having a good break here of 6 or maybe it might even be 7 weeks because we started the cruise here. I'm going to be feeling really fresh going into this next push. And I'm really excited for it. Otherwise, I think that's all I have. I'll try to get another update out. I can't say when. It won't be until we start the next push, probably a few weeks into that, just to, go over, where's the gear at, how aggressively we're pushing right off the start, an update on the training, all that stuff. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And for anyone that was following along, I'm sorry I kind of fell off and, stopped with the updates. I know there were some people that were really interested in them, but I'll try to be more consistent with it. If I'm going to be honest, it's at that point in the off season where it's a little monotonous. I'm getting a little lazy, just being heavier than I'm used to. Everything feels a little more like a chore, but right now I'm feeling really good, and that's probably why I decided to get this out. But anyways, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.